Step 2, I used to call it daydream, but actually I've come to realize that what I was doing was visualizing. Let me explain. Having seen an opportunity for an internal promotion, my immediate thought, as I said, was, oh, does this excite me? My next step, I wouldn't spend time reading the job specification or the job description. I would actually spend time going into a deep daydream or a deep visualization. I would really start to think, okay, let's imagine that I'm going to start that job on Monday. What would I do? What would I do on my first day? What would I do in my first week? What would I do in my first month? What would I want to achieve in that first month? And I'd really go deep into thinking through, imagining myself into that role. Reading up on neuroscience recently and listening to various podcasts, I realized what I was doing is I was visualizing myself in that role. And what's quite interesting about the neuroscience of visualization, so Olympic athletes will talk about visualization. Now, often people think what they're visualizing is them standing on the podium or them winning. But actually, from the studies that I've done or listened to, often what people are visualizing is the process they're living through. So if it's a race, how are they going to run that race? A really famous example of Michael Phelps had done a visualization of how he would swim a race if his goggles filled with water. And that happened, I think it was in the Beijing Olympics, that his goggles in the final actually filled with water. And as opposed to panicking or kind of thinking, oh no, he just automatically knew because he'd been there already. And this is where the neuroscience is really interesting about the power of visualization, because your brain is not very good at distinguishing between something that actually happened and something that you've just done a detailed visualization of it happening. The advantage I had is I'd already done that role for 6 months in my mind, in detail, whereas other people were trying to figure out what do they want me to say in response to this question. And the difference is huge.
It's not an exam.
It's not an exam.